There are a lot of reasons you might feel anxious when you sit down to record a video. But to me, one of the most painful and problematic ones is when your friends or family don't believe in what you're trying to do, when they don't support your dreams. You stare into the lens and you feel that lens anxiety, and suddenly all of your inspiration and motivation just seem to dry up. You might feel anxious and tense. You can't remember what you wanted to talk about. And you might start to doubt yourself. You start to question what you're doing and why you're doing it. And if you're new at this, and you're just learning all the parts of video production and creating a channel on YouTube, you probably don't have much confidence yet. You begin to think, maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't share my voice on YouTube. And it's no surprise that you feel that way. When you feel like the people closest to you don't trust you to make good decisions with your life, it can feel like the floor has just dropped out from under you. How can you record yourself talking when there's this deep layer of doubt and of sadness and disappointment and shame, all just under the surface? So you might take a break from chasing this dream, and you might let a few days go by, and then a few weeks go by, and then maybe months or even years. And you might never go back because the pain is too strong. You might even feel like if you record a video, you'll somehow be betraying that friend or family member. So you let your YouTube dream die, and with it, all the people you could help, and all the satisfaction and even pride that you might feel from having your own channel is all lost. When I told a very close friend of mine about my dream for my first YouTube channel, he was very critical about it. He disagreed with pretty much everything I had to say. He questioned everything about my idea, even though he really didn't know anything about starting a YouTube channel. And after we talked, I was left with a very strong feeling that he didn't believe in me. And to this day, I still want to believe that he was just concerned about me, and he didn't want me to get hurt or waste my time or something like that. But that's not how it felt. In the moment, it felt dismissive and judgmental, and like he didn't believe I could do it. It chipped away at my belief in myself and my own potential. And it took me a long time before I felt at all ready to sit down again and record my next video. And when I did sit down to record, the anxiety and fear were so much more intense than before. There was so much going on when I looked into the camera lens. My nervous system was activated. So that means my stomach was in knots, my breathing was tight, I was actually shaky, and my neck and shoulders were super tense. Plus, I was filled with self-doubt. And on top of all of that, I was still heartbroken by what he had said. It was really, really hard. It was harder than the first time I ever tried to record myself. And now I'm not against getting constructive feedback or an unbiased critique. It's not the easiest thing to receive, but we can learn a lot from people who genuinely want to help us improve and who challenge us to do better. But this situation with my friend was not that. This seemed to be someone whose focus was not for me to do better. He seemed to be focused on getting me to stop what I was doing. And of course, he didn't stop me from recording again. Eventually, I figured out how to move forward without pushing through the fear and self-doubt and abandoning myself in the process. And I ended up growing my first channel to over 17,000 subscribers in less than 2 years. And I'm going to share what I did to move forward in a way that my emotions and my nervous system could actually handle. But before I go on, if you're someone who has shared their idea with a friend or family member and they shot it down, I just want you to know that you're not alone. If you've been watching videos about how to start a channel or how to grow on YouTube, then you've probably seen at least one video on how you shouldn't tell your friends or family about your channel. And I think the reason there are so many videos on why you shouldn't tell your friends about your channel is because at some point, every creator makes this mistake. It's a natural impulse. A lot of creators end up telling someone they trust about their idea, and that person shoots it down or somehow communicates that they think it's a bad idea. But what gets left out of most of those videos is what happens to sensitive creators and the anxiety and fear that they feel when they sit down to record after that. Of course, I had already seen the videos that said, don't share your dreams with your friends or family. But I hadn't put this particular friend into that category. For some reason, I thought he was different. But I was wrong. So if you have been through this, and you're feeling the heartache and the self-doubt and the anxiety, the answer is not to grow a thicker skin or to toughen up or to push past your feelings. What you need is something that will meet you where you're at in this moment. Because you're probably experiencing two main things. First, your confidence got shaken. Your sense of direction might feel unstable. And you might even be questioning your entire path. And second, your system is still feeling the emotional impact of what happened. You are probably hurt by what this person said and disappointed that they acted that way. And you might even feel disconnected from them. And all of this creates activation in your nervous system and anxiety and a loud inner critic and just plain fear. So when you sit down to record and it feels like all of that anxiety and self-doubt and heartache are right on the surface, you are not going to abandon yourself and try to push past all of those feelings. But you're also not going to wait until all of that stuff gets resolved within you. What I do is a quick check-in to help balance my emotions and settle my nervous system, and connect with the part of myself that wants to record and the part of myself that is protective of me. The check-in starts with a few slow breaths. So let's try that right now. It only takes a minute, and you can do it anywhere. And there are so many benefits. And if you'd like, you can put one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly, which can just add to the feeling of being supported and grounded. Now take a slow breath in through the nose and slowly release the breath through the mouth. Again, take a slow breath in and feel your belly expanding. And then slowly release the breath and let your shoulders relax downward. Now take one more slow breath in and feel your back and your neck expanding and stretching. And slowly release the breath and let all of the muscles in your body relax. Very good. It's easy to forget how just taking a few breaths can reset your whole system. The goal of the breathing is not to remove the hurt feelings or make everything better. It's to make a small step toward your dream possible. The breathing exercise is just one part of the check-in that I use every time I record. If you'd like to try it, I have a free guide called the Creative Nervous System Check-in, which walks you through a quick practice that you can do in just a few minutes right before you record or edit or post a video. There's a link to it in the description. So at this point, hopefully, you're feeling a bit more relaxed and calm. But it might be that the ache in your heart from the hurt and the disappointment, it might still be just as strong. And there's part of you that might not want to show up at all. And what I want you to know is that's okay. The goal is not to fix everything or to wait until we're in the perfect mood, the perfect calmness, the perfect mental state to do our recording. I would call that the Goldilocks approach to doing creative work. And it's just not that effective. The reality is you can still move forward, even with some heaviness in your heart. You can take a small step from right here. And that's a wonderful thing, because life never really slows down. And if we had to wait until everything was just right in order to move forward, we would never go anywhere. So I want to offer you one action that you can take today. You could take it right after this video if you like. And that is to take one small step. You could focus on coming up with an idea for a video. But if you have some ideas already, then you could focus on recording a few sentences. Something short enough for your nervous system to handle. Because when your friends or family doubt your dream, your confidence will probably be pretty low. And in that state, taking a big step like recording a 20-minute video will probably feel like way too much. And even a medium step might feel overwhelming. With a big goal like that, it's easy to say, "Oh, I'm just not up to it today. I'll wait until tomorrow." And then tomorrow becomes next week, and next week becomes next month, and so on and so on. So instead of having a big goal like a 20-minute video, try starting with a small goal, a really small goal, something that keeps you moving forward in a sustainable way, without being too much for your system to handle. This could be as small as recording one sentence or talking about one simple idea. The one sentence idea might sound kind of ridiculous, but the goal isn't necessarily to post it. The goal is to do it. It's to go through the act of doing it. Because just going through that act, it will shift things inside of you. It will let your nervous system experience that kind of action, and it will help. So just take a second to think about something very small that you could do today that would help you move even just a little bit closer to your dream. And if you'd like to share what that step is, please leave it in a comment. I'd love to know, and it could help other people who are trying to figure out what they could work on. What can be so helpful to remember is that you don't have to wait until you feel 100% better to move forward with your channel. And you don't have to have everything figured out just to record something small. By the way, my name is Isaac, and this channel is Deep by Design. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, then welcome back. It's great to have you here. Until the next one, be kind to yourself and take good care.